Good day, I'm Zelda Barnes, and today I'm going to share more information with you about the B.Ed Foundation Phase program at the Faculty of Education at Stellenbosch University. What my talk will cover today is basically what the Foundation Phase Education program is about, why you could possibly want to study it. I'm going to give you a flash into what B.Ed Foundation Phase Education at Stellenbosch University looks like. I will be covering the admission requirements at the various levels, and we'll also be guiding you through the application process and what postgraduate studies could look like in our faculty. Now, what is foundation phase education? Gosh, people really underestimate this, but when you graduate from Stellenbosch University with the B.Ed Bachelor in Foundation Phase Education, you are able to teach 5 to 9-year-old learners and help them lay the foundation that they are going to build on for their further education in the primary school as well as high school. So what does this mean? Once you graduate from this course, you would be able to have enough knowledge and skills to teach children to read, as well as to do the foundational operations of mathematics, as well as build the foundational knowledge and skills of life skills and the beginning knowledge of science, technology, social sciences, and engineering. We also have an extensive practical learning program, but more about that later. So foundation phase education is captured in this picture that is on your screen. Now, most of you will think it's all about cutting and pasting and having fun with children. But through this course, you learn the value of the cutting and the pasting. You learn the value of interacting with children at their level. And you learn why it is important to work with children through formal and informal education. So why do you need to study foundation phase education? It is important. It's an important field. It's an important discipline where we aim to develop educationists who can demonstrate general educational practices as well as focused knowledge and skills and competencies for teaching grade R to grade 3. We help you to develop in-depth, specialized knowledge in the theories of teaching, learning, and the knowledge and skills for teaching in the foundation phase context. And there is a great demand for competent foundation phase educationists. So what does the B.Ed Foundation Phase Education program look like at Stellenbosch University? This program will be offered across 3 different departments in our faculty. The Department of Curriculum Studies is where the majority of the modules are housed. You will also be studying some modules in education policy studies as well as some modules in educational psychology. Foundation Phase Education program. It is a 4-year degree course where you are going to gain knowledge and skills about teaching grade R to grade 3 learners. Admission to the program is based on selection, and there's only a limited number of spaces available. What are these admission requirements? You would have to complete the National Senior Certificate, or you could complete the education stream through the Independent Examinations Board. But you must have a minimum aggregate or overall aggregate of 60%. Candidates also must pass their senior certificate or IEB exams with a bachelor's admission for degree studies. You also need to remember that you have to have at least had passed 4 university admission subjects, at least on level 4, which equates to 50%. Now, I would like to just draw your attention to the fact that these are the minimum requirements. It does not at all mean that once you meet these requirements, that you would get accepted to the program. Because remember, the program, we select students, there's selection criteria, despite you meeting these requirements. So, what are the admission requirements in terms of language? If your language of teaching was English in grade 12, You must have passed it at home language level at 60% and your first additional language at 40%. And this is the same if your language was Afrikaans, English, or isiXhosa. Just to summarize, you need to pass your home language at 60%, a level 5, and your additional language at 50%, which is a level 4. And it's important that you understand this, because as a foundation phase teacher, you would have to teach a language at home language level, and you would have to teach a language at first additional language level. And this choice is basically made when you make your language choices in your school subject choices. You cannot become a home language teacher of a language that you did not study at school. Just a point of clarity. Then, what are our admission requirements? For mathematics, for pure mathematics, you must have passed it at level 3, which is 40%. And if you took mathematical literacy, you should have passed it at level 5, which is 60%. Now, students who wrote the final school examinations before 2008 are required to have passed at least mathematics standard grade at grade 12 level. So what is the application process? You need to apply online at www.marties.com. And when you apply, you need to make sure that you select B.Ed Foundation Phase Education as your first choice. You have to ensure that you choose the right program upon application, because applications get filtered through various channels based on your selection. We also have some multilingual requirements that we need to adhere to. So the degree is conferred only if students meet the multilingual requirements of our provincial language policy and the policy of mother tongue-based multilingualism in the Western Cape. What does that mean? Our course makes provision for the training of teachers for English, Afrikaans, and isiXhosa. This means doing and passing at least one language as a language of learning and teaching, where you need to obtain 60%, a second language as a professional communication medium, which you need to pass at 50%, and then a third language at the level of basic communication, which you need to pass at 50%. So in a nutshell, your degree will only be conferred to you if you pass your home language at 60%, your additional language at 50%, and your communicative language also at 50%. Students will choose 2 languages when they are able to teach, and you have to complete modules in these 2 languages during all 4 years. So, from first year, you choose the language that you will study as a home language, and you will choose a language that you will study as a first additional language. So we have 3 languages that you can choose from, as I've mentioned earlier: English, Afrikaans, and isiXhosa. So if you choose English as your home language, you can either choose isiXhosa or Afrikaans as your first additional language. Whatever language you choose as your first additional language, the remaining language will then be your communicative language. So, put simply, if you choose English as your home language and Afrikaans as your first additional language, isiXhosa will be the language that you study at a communicative level. And it is important that you remember you have to specialize in a home language, a first additional language, and a communication language. But these choices should be based on the languages that you have studied and passed at matric level. So, teacher education courses are reliant on practical work as well. And a quarter of your degree will be relying on practical work in schools, practical work on campus, practical work in the afternoons, or practical work in the mornings. Let's take a closer look at what practical learning can look like. So throughout the 4 years, your work integrated learning comprises of a combination of the following. We will have practical learning, where students will receive instruction on teaching and teaching methods, and you will have to observe and teach in schools during the 4 years. You will also have to do observation and micro-teaching, as well as peer teaching at the faculty. From second year onwards, you will have 2 weeks of school observations at the schools closest to your hometown, 2 weeks prior to the academic year starting. Those 2 weeks are often aligned with the start of the school year, and may I remind you that this may be well before the official university calendar starts. You will also have to teach at a dedicated partner school of Stellenbosch University. So if you're choosing a foundation phase program, you would have to teach in one of the foundation phase grades. You will also, from year 2 to year 4, have 8 to 9 weeks of teaching practice at a school. In year 2 and year 3, it may be a school close to your hometown. However, in the 4th year, it will have to be a school in Stellenbosch or the vicinity, because you will be evaluated by academics and professionals coupled to the faculty. So now that you understand what the B.Ed Foundation Phase program is all about, I think it's important for your planning that you also look at what postgraduate opportunities are available, because planning is very important. We have a B.Ed Foundation Phase Honours program, which if you do it full-time, it's a 1-year course. If you do it part-time, working and studying, you can do it over 2 years. We use blended learning for that to facilitate that course, which means you have 2 blocks of contact sessions in the school holidays, and then we use our online learning management system and Microsoft Teams to do the rest of the teaching and learning. If you graduate with the B.Ed Foundation Phase qualification as well, you would also be eligible to apply for the B.Ed Honours in Learning Support. That is offered with our Department of Educational Psychology, and you can check their website for more details about that. We also have a master's degree, which is completely research-based, so it's 100% thesis work, and if you're successful in a master's degree and still want to pursue further research, we also have opportunities for PhD studies. For more information about our programs and what our faculty offers, you are welcome to contact our recruitment office. You can also consult our yearbook or academic calendar, and the link is on the screen for you. But most of the answers that you have to your queries will also be found on our website, and please click on the Faculty of Education, and there are links to our various departments and what our departments offer. And if you have any email queries, you are welcome to send it to foundationphase@sun.ac.za. I hope you have gotten a glimpse into what the Bachelor of Education Foundation Phase teaching looks like at Stellenbosch University. I look forward to welcoming you in the near future. Goodbye.